Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Check 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Check 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 1 2 3 4 5.
KWKH AM, Shreveport Bossier. The home of LSU sports is 1130 The Tiger.
1130 The Tiger. Your home for Tim Fletcher.
Ben Roethlisberger had one throw last night.
He is so underappreciated. And I hate the Steelers. Hate them. You know, there's reasons the off the field stuff doesn't help from years past, but the shaking off defenders, 3 of them hanging off of him, and he's like, oh, look, there's a guy 20 yards down the field. Let me throw it to him and drop it in perfectly.
Tim Fletcher, weekday mornings on 1130 The Tiger.
KWKH AM, Shreveport Bossier.
And the Tigers lead it 23-6.
The home of LSU sports is 1130 The Tiger.
Good afternoon. It's the Patrick Netherton Show.
Voice of the Demons, right?
Yes.
Touchdown, Demons!
Brined, marinated, or dry rubbed. It's sports the way you like it.
Sports Center Top 10 right there!
Talking to the biggest names. Bringing you the best interviews.
He actually smokes his beans.
The cooler is full and the brisket is resting.
Just a nice little pull and it comes right apart. That's perfect.
Here's your master of ceremonies, the Kansas City Barbecue Society's certified expert.
Throw the fake, looking for Ferguson. Got it!
Patrick Netherton.
13-yard touchdown. Demons are back in it.
And good afternoon. Back in the saddle again. Can't believe it. We're actually back and ready to rock and roll as we are here on the Patrick Netherton Show on 1130 The Tiger. I am the aforementioned Patrick Netherton. Very pleased to have you with us as we get you set, ready to roll for another wonderful day and a beautiful afternoon of Sports Talk Radio. He is Rogers Hampton.
Hey, boy.
Back with you, ready to rock and roll.
You got it, buddy.
All right, man.
I'm gonna get to work real quick.
Yeah, you got stuff to do. Rogers actually has to work for a little bit. Raj has to actually get our guest on because we have coming up right at the top of the show. Very excited about this. And again, this is the Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger. Pleased to have you with us here on 1130. You can get in touch with us in a lot of ways. 318-320-1130. That's the phone line. That's easy to do, 318-320-1130. You can reach us there very easily. Or if you like, you can send us a text at 657-0HAM, 657-0426. Again, that's 318-657-0426. This is the Patrick Netherton Show on 1130 The Tiger. We are pleased to have you with us. And look, we're going to get this started off right because there are a lot of headlines going on in the world of sports right now, a lot of things we need to talk about. But the biggest news of the day is from Columbus, and that is the retirement. And I'm using air quotes when I say retirement. It's the retirement of Urban Meyer. Again, health issues is the talking point right now. And that's exactly what we heard when he left Florida. He went to ESPN. Next thing you know, he's the coach at Ohio State. The question I have is this retirement believable, or is this going to be, once again, what happened at Florida? And there's no better expert to talk to, no better guy to join us to talk about this. Maybe no one who knows Urban Meyer better inside and out right now than Brett McMurphy, formerly of ESPN, the man we referred to as Sources. He was at CBS. He was at ESPN. Now he is at Stadium, where he continues to break news left and right, embarrassing all the other major networks with all of the scoops that he has. And he's the guy that's been at the forefront of all of this Urban Meyer controversy starting back before the season began. Before we get into everything, Sources, how are you, my friend?
Good to talk to you, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Excited to chat with you. I know you've been an insanely busy man here in the last couple of weeks, and especially now with news breaking that Urban Meyer has announced his retirement. It's hard not to be cynical in this situation, Brett, because we've seen this before. There was health concerns, heart or throat or whatever it was, depending on who you asked. He goes to ESPN. Next thing you know, he's rejuvenated, and he goes back to Ohio State. Now he has other different health issues. Are you cynical about this retirement announcement?
You want to believe him and take him at his word, but you're right. You just look at, all you can go by is what he has said and done in the past. And he quit at Florida and announced he was done, and then the next day he changed his mind and returned for a season, and then he quit again. And he said he had, heart issues and stress and all that. He got to spend time with his family. Well, that lasted a year, and then he got back at Ohio State. He was at Florida 6 years. He was at Ohio State 7, and now towards the end of his Ohio State run, he now all of a sudden we hear that he's got, according to the investigation in August, he tells investigators he's got memory issues. He's got, now he's had this brain surgery back in 2014, I guess. And now all this stuff is coming out. A lot of reports were coming about Urban's health issues. I mean, at one point I knew more about Urban's health issues than I knew about my own health.
Yeah. And
certainly the reason that that's coming out is he was laying the groundwork that he was going to step down again. So will he coach again? He says he won't. He says, I will not coach again. He goes, I believe I will not coach again. Fairly certain. Well, that doesn't sound fairly certain. So I think he'll take a year off, and then in 2020, if one of the top programs has an opening, whether that's USC, Auburn, Florida State, LSU, I'm not predicting any of these guys are going to be gone. I'm just saying if there's an elite program where he can win a national championship, I think it would be very intriguing for him to try to come to another program and win a third national title at a third different school.
Yeah, and that's the part, Brett, that makes this, like you said, I want to believe him. I don't want to believe anybody would take their health lightly enough that they would use it as sort of a crutch to meander around their career path. And yet
he said last month I would be coaching at Ohio State next year. So, all you can go by is what he said. But I agree with you.
Well, I will say this. I did see one tweeter said he just said he would be coaching in 2019, and the bowl game is technically in 2019.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so, I will say this. Is there a coach that you've seen in your time in college football that is more careful with how they speak and more careful with the way they parse their words?
Yeah, that's a good point. I really hadn't thought about that, but yeah, it is. And again, it's just you want to believe him, you want to go by what he says, but then when he says things and then does things differently, you kind of take it all with a grain of salt.
Talking to Brett McMurphy of Stadium, the man we affectionately have always referred to as Sources, because back in the day, ESPN would never credit him for breaking news. They would just call him Sources. Sources say such and such. Brett, I'm curious, going back to when you broke all the news with the Courtney Smith, the Zach Smith saga, Urban and Shelley Meyer, all of that, I'm curious, as you were compiling this information, a lot of the Ohio State backers have said you have some sort of a vendetta or you're just anti-Urban, you're just out to get him. I'm curious, as a journalist, what was the process you were going through when you decided what needed to be out in the public domain, what needed to be reported, and what didn't need to be reported?
Well, initially, the only thing I was reporting was that Zach Smith, who was employed by Ohio State, had these domestic violence issues in his past against his ex-wife, Courtney Smith, going all the way back to Florida when he was arrested for assaulting her when she was pregnant. And that had never been reported, not at Florida, and certainly not what had happened since he had been at Oklahoma State. At Ohio State. That was the sole purpose of my reporting. That all changed when Urban Meyer got up at Big Ten Media Days and was asked about Zach Smith, who he had just fired the day before when my stories came out. And he said he had no knowledge of some incidents that happened in 2015. Well, so then the whole focus changed to what did Urban know, what did Urban not know. Urban said, I don't know who would create a story like that. I was at Big Ten Media Days in Chicago, and I was thinking to myself, well, I would create that story because I'm sitting here looking at a copy of the police report. So that totally changed everything. For the Ohio State fans that say I've got a vendetta against Urban and I'm this and that, the best way I can sum it up is I was doing an interview with the Columbus radio station, and I was asked that question. And I said, okay, let me get this straight. The first story I reported, I did it on Facebook. Your university then launched an investigation with one of the top law firms in the country. They found out that everything I reported was 100% accurate. They suspended your coach for 3 games. So now you're asking if I've got a vendetta. If I would have reported the same exact thing, word for word, except you changed Urban Meyer to Jim Harbaugh, and it's all about Michigan instead of Ohio State, would you have a problem with anything I reported? And he was like, well, he started,
hemming and hawing, right.
You answered my question. The only reason that you don't like what I'm reporting is because it's about Ohio State and Urban Meyer and your school. So that's what I stand by. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to have one of the country's top law firms investigate basically what I reported, and they confirmed what I reported. Everything I reported also, again, there were no anonymous sources, and Urban Meyer knew a lot of what I reported, or somebody else in the athletic department knew what I reported. It's just it wasn't public. And I made it public, and then here we are, and he's stepping down, he says, after the Rose Bowl.
Talking to Brett McMurphy from Stadium, who is closer to this situation than really anyone else in college football. I'm curious now, as everyone is immediately going to talk about his legacy, even though I think you and I both agree he probably will coach again before it's all said and done. But what is his legacy? You know, you look at some of the greats, even a guy that was at his school, Woody Hayes, who had such a sterling record until, you know, he went on the field and punched that kid, and then that sort of tainted a little bit of his legacy. What do we look at in terms of Urban Meyer's legacy?
Well, I think on the field, he's one of the greatest college football coaches there was. There's no questioning that. There's no doubting that. But then you get off the field, and Aaron Hernandez was at Florida under his watch, and nothing ever happened. Zach Smith was an assistant coach for him at Florida and Ohio State, and we know about his background, and he was never disciplined. So I think ultimately it's kind of a mix. If you're an Ohio State and Urban Meyer fan, you will view his legacy a lot different than if you're not an Ohio State fan. It's kind of somewhere mixed there in the middle, but certainly you're right. You think of Woody Hayes, you don't, at least for me, I don't immediately think of how many Big Ten championships he won and those different things. All I can think of is him hitting the Clemson player after the interception. So will Meyer be viewed more for winning the national championship at Ohio State, or will he be viewed more for basically enabling or looking the other way when he had an assistant coach that was had been arrested at Florida and then investigated multiple times concerning domestic violence on his staff?
This may be an unfair question to ask because you can't really put yourself in other people's brains, but do you think the rest of college football and coaches specifically, do you think or maybe hope that they've learned something about how to handle domestic abuse on their staff, how to handle covering up or not covering up some of the things that go on? Because this goes on a lot in all sports, really, but especially in college football. You've got it's such a machismo, testosterone-driven sport. I'm curious if you think that other coaches maybe will reevaluate or reassess who they are and how they handle these things in light of what went down with Urban.
I know for a fact that they will, and they have, because after I initially reported that stuff, I talked to several coaches, and they were not joking about the situation, but they were joking to me saying, well, you ruined our day today. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, basically everyone came into the coach's office and they had a copy of their contracts, and they put it out on the table, and they went through the contracts line by line to say, okay, if you have any suspicion of a player or another coach that is involved in domestic violence, what exactly is your responsibility in reporting this information? Who do you tell? So there would be no gray area. So people would know for this very reason. So it at least hopefully, if there are situations that other schools are involved in, hopefully they will report it to the right people and act on it accordingly. So I do think a lot of coaches got the message, because again, the biggest thing was, and obviously the Baylor situation is nothing compared to Ohio State. But the big difference was Baylor involved a lot of coaches on the staff and a lot of different things. I think what was really troubling for other head coaches is basically because Urban looked the other way for one assistant coach, it almost brought him down. I mean, I guess ultimately it did. He's retiring. And so I think that's what really troubled a lot of people, is they're like, oh, wow, if I've got one guy who's off the rails, I can't just ignore him, because ultimately that would be my responsibility and it could cost me. So I think that shed a lot of light on those situations as well.
You don't get into this business. You don't become a journalist in order to, have these kind of stories fall in your lap and report this sort of thing. But, is there a part of you that is proud of the fact that maybe this will enact some change in an industry that desperately needs more awareness of this kind of a situation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest, I didn't know much about domestic violence until I started reporting this stuff. And, I give Courtney Smith a great deal of credit. I was able to track her down and convince her to talk to me, and she trusted me and opened up to me and confided in me. And it took a lot of courage for her to come forward, because I told her, I said, look, I will I have no reason not to believe what you're going to tell me, but nobody is going to believe you in the state of Ohio. So you need to give me all the information that you have. I need documents, emails, photos, etc. If you tell me something happened, I need proof because nobody's going to believe you. And that took a lot of courage, and I give her a lot of credit. Her goal was never to bring down Ohio State or Urban Meyer or anything like that. It was just to kind of tell her story about the struggles she was going through as a former wife of an assistant coach that basically was being abused, and all the wives on the Ohio State staff knew about it. They texted her about it, and so obviously all the husbands knew about it, and basically nobody did anything about it. So yeah, hopefully that brought some light to that. And obviously, people like Brenda Tracy and Rachel Barbeau, who are obviously, advocates against domestic violence. I think that helps too. But yeah, it's certainly wasn't what I got into sports reporting for.
Well, it's a terrific service, and Brett, before we let you go, let's talk about a happy subject. That is, we've got bowls to look forward to. We've got more college football. What are you excited about moving forward in terms of the bowls and then ultimately the playoff? Did we lose him? Yeah, I think we lost him. All right. Well, that's probably a good place to go ahead and wrap it up anyway. So we were just going to ask him about what he's excited about for bowls and in postseason and whatnot. Terrific conversation, though, with Brett McMurphy. He is fantastic. Again, if you want to follow his work, at Brett_McMurphy, at Brett_McMurphy. Easy to get in touch with him and follow along. He does tremendous work. And look, he did a great service in this situation, bringing more light to the domestic violence issues that are out there in college football and college sports or and the NFL. I mean, all of that, there's a lot of it going on, but more awareness never hurts. So tremendous work by Brett Murphy, and a big thanks to him for joining us here on the Patrick Netherton Show. We'll talk playoffs. We'll talk bowls. We've got to talk Saints Buccaneers. We got to talk a little bit about the Independence Bowl. All of that coming up in just a bit right here on the Patrick Netherton Show.
Oh, sweetie, you got another text from Pierce.
Uh-oh.
He's in line trying to pay for something, and he wants to know how much he has in his Gibbs & Bacon Trust checking account.
That does not surprise me.
He has $12.
$12 and probably, 60 cents?
Something like that, but what he's buying is going to cost about $38. So, hang on a second. I'm going to transfer some money in there. All right, will you text him that he can now buy that because he now has the money in his GBT account?
Sure, sweetie. All right, here you go, ding dong. There's your money. Thank you, GBT, for always being that safety net for the college kid that doesn't quite have it together yet.
GBT, the great banking team.
This holiday, skip the cooking and get a tender honey-baked ham slow-smoked up to 24 hours. So smoky. Hand-glazed and caramelized to perfection for that sweet, crunchy taste. Gotta love that crunch. Fully cooked, spiral sliced, and ready to serve.
Wait, seriously? That sounds great.
Yes, seriously. The world's best ham, only from the Honey Baked Ham Company.
Southfield Shopping Center in the corner of Southfield and Uri, Honey Baked Ham.
It takes both vision and skill to create a pool as unique as it is beautiful. A perfect blend of time-honored craftsmanship and cutting-edge technology. The hand, heart, and mind working in perfect sync to create something truly special. A source of timeless relaxation, priceless memories, and endless joy. That is the mission of a master pool builder, and that is the magic of Moorhead Pools.
It's time for some straight talk. This holiday season, give yourself the gift you really want, more data. Just switch to Straight Talk Wireless and we'll give you 50% more high-speed data on our $35 and $45 unlimited plans when you buy a smartphone, all without a contract. Plus, you'll get America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. So switch today and say happy holidays to yourself with 50% more high-speed data. Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less, only at Walmart. See terms at straighttalk.com.
According to the CDC, each year more than 400 Americans die from unintentional carbon monoxide poisoning. More than 20,000 visit the emergency room and over 4,000 are hospitalized. When it comes to keeping your home safe and warm this winter and your utility bills in check, preventative maintenance is a must. SBC Air understands how important this is, and I trust them to keep my home safe and comfortable. Visit sbcair.com or call 465-0853 to schedule your tune-up. SBC Air, the specialists who care.
It's that time of year again. The temperature's down low and the excuses come out.
My temperature is like 170 bajillion, Mom.
Luckily, Clorox Cleanup Spray kills 99.9% of germs. So you can keep those excuses for another day. Stock up on Clorox Cleanup Spray today for a healthy home during cold and flu season. Clorox. Clean is the beginning. What comes next is everything. Use as directed on hard, non-porous surfaces.
Target is here to help you discover all the ways to get your holidays done. Like order pickup. Just order ahead and have it waiting for you at the store. Try Drive Up in the Target app and we'll bring it right out to your car as soon as you arrive. And now, we'll bring the holidays home to you with same-day delivery shopped by Shipt. Whether it's a TV, hot cocoa mix, or ornaments for the tree, Target makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Target run and done. Learn more at target.com/ways to shop. Restrictions may apply.
You wanted the best? Well, you got the best. The hottest band in the world. Kiss.
Kiss. The end of the road tour. One last kiss. Saturday, September 7th, CenturyLink Center. Kiss on their final tour ever. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. History will be made.
So often we talk Chevy Land and the beautiful new cars, trucks, and SUVs out there, and for good reason. I mean, my gosh, have you seen the Silverado? Have you seen that Camaro? I feel like we've neglected the service department. Here's what Christy J had to say. My service rep, Kenny, was very friendly and understanding, kept in touch with me, letting me know the status of my vehicle. He's knowledgeable of his job. I will recommend him to all my family and friends. He's excellent. John B. and Bossier said the service professionals did a great job. Great service at Chevyland. You know it by the feeling. 7500 Uri Drive. Nicole joins us from First Choice Personnel. 797-7810. Make First Choice your last call. Hey, you know what? You guys have some pretty cool job openings over there. As always, what's high on your priority list right now, Nicole?
We have administrative, we have clerical positions, especially right now coming up during the holidays. We can have people come in and do temporary positions. We can do permanent positions. So they can give us a call anytime.
Permanent, that's my freckles. Temporary, it's how I like my tattoos. First Choice Personnel. 797-7810.
Welcome to Walk-On's Bistro and Bar, where every dish starts from scratch. Fresh ingredients bring our food to life. Mouth-watering cuisine, unique flavors, and we're always more than happy to share our Southern charm and culture. A love of life, family, food, friends, fun, sports, and celebrations. Walk-Ons. It's game day with the taste of Louisiana.
1130 The Tiger, your home for LSU sports, powered by Jack Spring Electric.
Let's get to the meat of the matter with producer Rogers Hampton.
Hey, boy!
Here's your master of ceremonies, Patrick Netherton.
You're on 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. We are shaking it up. Man, what a good interview with Brett McMurphy. That was fantastic.
Man, felt like old times, but
yeah, it did.
It really did feel like old times. He was one of our main guests.
He was
back in the day.
Really good back in the day, and he was really good today. And I thought very telling when he talked about the fact that, you know, he felt like he didn't, not in these words, but you could tell he felt like somewhat of a crusader.
No, yes.
In some regard, like I like when you do that, Raj.
What?
I like when you say no, yes.
No,
right,
yes.
right behind
because
each other.
you don't know and which ones you think.
No, yes.
No, yes,
yes,
I agree.
no, yes, no.
Yes, no, I agree.
No, I yes agree with you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. No, I don't. I love that. And I do it. Everyone does it. When you say no and yes right after each other, that's always hilarious. But big thanks to Brett McMurphy for joining us. He was fantastic. By the way, I have a SoundCloud and a YouTube channel, and I'm going to post this interview with Brett McMurphy after the show sometime this evening when I get back to the house. We kind of have to, normally I do it right after the show from here, but obviously I've got the marshals breathing down my neck when I'm literally Ben, who just comes in and stands behind you and just waits on you to be done. So. We'll have that. Don't worry, that will be up. We'll have that posted this evening. So if you didn't get to hear it, you need to go back and listen. It was absolutely tremendous, and I was very, very excited to get an opportunity to talk to him. He's the one that really that sort of set these dominoes in motion. He's the one who talked, and as he mentioned, the real courageous person in all of this was Courtney Smith. She was the one who, stood up and said, I'm not going to allow this to continue to happen. And because of that, that turned into the story that we saw from Brett McMurphy. And it was, and quite a story it was. So really, really thankful to him. Very thankful to everyone. I hope you enjoyed that story. I'm glad that we got to bring it to you and you heard his thoughts, kind of like we thought. Is that we ultimately believe that Urban Meyer will probably be back coaching again, and it's kind of bad to say almost, but at the same time, I think it's true. I think he's going to be coming back. He's going to be back in coaching at some point. He's going to get out for a year or two. He's going to figure out whatever health problems that he has, and next thing you know, he's going to be right back in it, doing it again. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And whether you like that or don't like that, I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's going to be the situation. So we hope you enjoyed that. We had a lot of fun with it, and obviously Brett McMurphy is tremendous, and we thank him for his time. By the way, I didn't even really get to introduce what's going on. We haven't even talked about what's happening here. And that is, of course, we have the main man, Rogers Hampton.
Hey, boy!
What's up, Rod?
What is going on, stranger?
Hey, man.
I mean, we kind of had to jump on straight into the thing, but it's been a while.
Sometimes you don't really get a chance to chat. Sometimes the guest says, hey, I got to go at 3. And
guess
you're
what?
like, you're going at 3. Absolutely. By the way, just want to note, I got a confirmation of a guest coming up in a couple of weeks. It's not going to be this week or next week, but how about a member of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee joining us? That's right. Maybe it might be late next week or perhaps early the week after, but we're going to have one of the members of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee that will join us on the show. So you want to know what it was like inside? We're going to have that for you. How's that for a teaser? Could be late next week.
I don't know what to do.
I know, man. It makes you just want to.
I was already kind of in one of those, emotional, kind of spots.
Yeah? Oh, jeez. Settle down. Get out of here.
I mean, it's been a while since we've seen each other.
It has been a while. There's no doubt about that.
Been a lot of planes, trains, and automobiles since then. He was a fool to leave my side.
He was.
Peanut.
Is our stream up, by the way? I think I'm getting a blank screen.
I've got red.
Okay. Well, I know that. That's back at the house.
And I see you.
Okay. I don't know. The Facebook's acting wonky.
Yeah, it really is. We're having some gremlin glitches today.
So if you don't see the video post, I apologize. It's just acting weird right now. So Yeah, it was a good conversation with Brett McMurphy. Very excited to have him on. And again, we're gonna keep bringing you the best guests. Don't worry about that. You're not going to find the kind of guests anywhere else in this market that you'll find on the Patrick Netherton Show, I assure you. You can call us if you like at 318-320-1130. That is easily done. Give us a holler there. Or if you like, you can send us a text at 318-657-0HAM, 657-0423. Your opportunity to be a part of the show, you can do that either way, via the text message or the phone line. Or if you want to post on the Facebook page, you can certainly do that as well. We will take your Facebook comments, although as of right now, I am struggling to get the video stream working, but that's a me problem.
No, it is. There's definitely some stuff happening.
Yeah, we got gremlins going on
yes,
right now.
we do.
So apologies for that, but we'll get it all figured out, I promise. The good news is I do have the audio of the Brett McMurphy interview, and we will add that to we'll put that on the SoundCloud, I think, right after the show, and you'll be able to listen to that and get to hear from Brett McMurphy. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to end the live video for now.
Okay.
And then we'll go back and
we'll restart
it coming up in just a bit.
Can we stop stream then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, just
we'll do that.